Hey everyone! Today I'm going to introduce to you a couple of different strategies you can use for solving subtraction algorithms using base 10 blocks and the number line. Base 10 blocks are a mathematical manipulative used by students to learn basic mathematical concepts such as subtraction and place value. The blocks can be manipulated in different ways to express different numbers. The blocks come in 4 different sizes, but for this tutorial we will be focusing on only 3 of those 4 sizes of blocks. The flats, which represent the hundreds place, the rods, which represent the tens place, and lastly, the units, which represent the ones place. We're also going to use the number line for our second strategy. It is important to know that the numbers on the left of the number line are always lower than the numbers on the right. In order for us to begin solving subtraction algorithms, it is important that we first understand the terminology used to describe the different parts of a subtraction sentence. First, we have the minuend, the number from which another number is subtracted from, the subtrahend, a number that is subtracted from the minuend, and lastly, the difference, which is the result of subtracting one number from another. For example, the difference between 8 and 3 is 5. Now let's get started. Our problem today is going to be 321 minus 143. First, we're going to estimate the answer. This will allow us to think about the whole equation before we begin to compute the answer. By rounding both the subtrahend and the minuend to the nearest multiple of 10, we are simplifying the numbers, which will make it easier for us to work with and later estimate a more accurate answer. When subtracting, it is important to round both numbers up or both numbers down. For our algorithm, we have rounded both of our numbers down. This has given us a new equation of 320 minus 140. We know that the equation is still going to be difficult to answer, so we're going to make the equation even more simple by rounding down to the nearest hundred, making our equation 300 minus 100, giving us a difference of 200. Since we have rounded 320 to 300 and 140 to 100, we know that we must then subtract those differences from 200 to reach an estimated answer of 180. Now let's use a couple of non-traditional strategies to check our answer and see how accurate our estimated answer was. For step 1, I have used the base 10 blocks to model our minuend, 321, by dividing the individual digits in the number into their coordinating spots on the place value chart. As you can see, we have 3 flats representing the number 300, 2 rods representing the number 20, and 1 unit representing the number 1. If we were to add these all together, 300 plus 20 plus 1, we would get our minuend, 321. Recognize that there are not enough ones to be able to take away 3 ones, so therefore, we're going to have to trade 1 10 for 10 ones so we can take away 3 ones. For step 2, I have traded my 1 10 for 10 ones, and I am now left with 11 ones in the ones place on my place value chart. Record this number above the 1 in our minuend, which represents the number of ones left on our place value chart. And since I am now left with 1 rod, or 1 10, I'm going to also record the number 1 above the 2 in our minuend, which represents the number of tens left on our place value chart. Because I am required to take away 3 ones from my 11 ones, I am now left with 8 ones. I'm going to record the number of units that are left below the algorithm, being sure to write that digit below the algorithm in the ones place. Next, I am required to take away 4 tens from 2 tens, which as we know is impossible to do with only 1 rod on our place value chart. So like I did before, I'm going to trade one of my flats for 10 rods. This will leave me with 11 rods and 2 flats. All I have done is simply trade 1 flat, which represents 100, for 10 rods, which also represents 100, just in a different way. This is what that will look like. Now we're able to take away 4 tens from the 11 tens that we have, but first we're going to record our new number of flats, or hundreds, above the number 3 of our minuend in the hundreds column. This is what that will look like. This leaves us with 7 rods and 2 flats. Record the number of rods that are left in the tens place below the algorithm to the right of the place value chart. This is what that will look like. Because our algorithm requires us to take away 100 from 200, we are not required to trade any of our base 10 blocks because we do not need to borrow anything from the other numbers to do so. Because we know that 200 minus 100 is 100, we are going to record our answer 1 in the hundreds column, which is the column farthest to the left, which gives us a final difference of 178. Now we're going to check our answer. Because 321 minus 143 is going to be a bit more than 320 minus 140, a difference of 180, we can agree that a difference of 178 makes sense for our algorithm of 321 minus 143. For strategy number 2, we will be using a number line. For our algorithm of 321 minus 143, we will record our lowest number, in this case our subtrahend, on the far left end of our number line, and then we will do the same with our minuend, but since it is much higher than 143, we are going to record 321 on the far right side of the number line. We really are just looking at how many steps it will take us to get from 143 to 321. Since we know that 150 is 7 steps higher than 143, we are going to draw a relatively small leap on our number line and record the number of steps as follows. We will then do the same to our minuend, 321, but instead of moving to the right, we are going to move to the left on our number line, down to the closest multiple of 10, which in this case will be 320. Since we know that there is only one step in between 321 and 320, we will draw a very small leap and record the number of steps as follows. We will then do the same, continuing to work forwards and backwards until our leaps join in the middle. Remember to always record the number of steps and continue to work either up or down depending on which end of the number line we are working from. Once our leaps have joined in the middle, we are going to think addition and add up our number of steps to get our final answer. Since we know that 7 plus 150 is equal to 157, and we know that 20 plus 1 is equal to 21, we can then add these two numbers together to get a final answer of 178, meaning that there are 178 steps between 321 and 143, which is also our difference. These are just a couple of strategies you can use to make subtraction in math just a little bit easier. I hope it helps you out, and thank you for watching.